maybe a risky subject. It's part of the new subjectivation of people, that they are risky. They incarnate a risk. Technical efficiency, the technical efficiency, what it actually does, then you say, this is good, we need it because it does something good. The technical efficiency is very ambiguous or non-existent. But symbolically, it means you can't think it in a different way. And I find this term, analytic term, a radical monopoly, a monopoly that is so radical that it roots into the thing itself, so it restructures or remakes the thing in its substance. Oh, I hope my English is precise enough for you. Yeah, because that's, I mean, we are all moving in a different language. Yes. So that we can say risk is part of the promise that there can be greater security, but it creates insecurity. And the insecurity means that there must be continual control, and each control, which overwhelmingly says everything is fine, says at the same time something could have been. Something wrong would have been. Yeah. And I remember giving a talk years ago, and there was a woman, and then I was saying something about the ultrasound, when ultrasound moves out from, say, as a medical diagnostic instrument into risk screening. And then this woman said, yes, but I'm so glad. The other day I saw on the ultrasound that my child has lungs. And then you can see, how does a woman that is pregnant even can hatch the idea that her child will have lungs? I mean, that is a relief that you see your child has lungs means first that you must have this idea. And I mean, when you transfer this logic to security politics today, is that security politics create the necessity of their installment through creating these, what could happen, anything could happen. And when you start thinking within this logic, then of course you can rationalize that this should be done. But as someone said in the beginning, it's an issue, the issue is the problematization. If you problematize something like within this risk, in this way, you can almost impossible to say no for the control. It creates the necessity of its being necessary. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And from here, when we discuss this track of decision making, there you understand then here in this risk management, we are in a frame in which the professional cannot give a good advice. Because we are in a frame in which no one really knows where we are. Because we are dealing with improbabilities, we are managing the future, no one knows what will happen. And therefore, we have to balance risks. And therefore, the woman has to decide. Therefore, the woman has to decide what is being done to her. Yeah. Because this is the space in which the traditional professional who would say, command, and say, we want this has to be done, cannot act like this because often one intervention has a negative side effect and involves other risks. Say when you have the prenatal screening with the investigation of the amniotic fluid, and screening for say Down syndrome as an example, then this intervention also carries the risk that the woman loses the child, and so the professional doesn't say, we command this, but it is up for the woman to decide, because in fact she herself has to manage her risks, because then suddenly it appears the risk of a handicapped child or the risk to lose the child. But of course she wants neither nor. And the physician is in the physician. No one decides for you. Therefore, they create the instance that has to make a decision between these how to manage these risks is the client herself. That is the rule. That the client herself has to decide, and that is logically necessary because we are in a space of insecurity in which no one, as pertains to negative side effects, could give you back the self-assuredness or quietness. It would be fine, because hope, of course, has no room in this space. As regards the decision trap, so the argument is that this formal way of decision making, that's the genetic counseling, we were analyzing the genetic counseling as an instance to study this formal decision making that we are discussing, actually opens a decision trap. While it tells the woman you are autonomous and can decide, it opens a trap. Now, the counselors cannot be accused of pressuring their clients to undergo tests. On the contrary, they offer the women the possibility of taking advantage of these procedures, but also the option to abstain from it. In any of these counselings, then they offer the possibilities, the options, but they also say if you don't want a test, then you don't do a test. It's non-compulsive. Yet it is precisely this manner of presenting what was beyond consideration as an option that is confusing. During the counseling session, the possibility of undergoing amniocentesis and perhaps of aborting the fetus stand as equally weighted alternative to that which for the pregnant woman had until now not required any decision. There is a whole series of studies analyzing the so-called reproductive decision in terms of decision theory. That is, according to a model that is supposed to make management decisions calculable. This original statistical model of decision-making is now propagated as a set of instructions on how decisions in general ought to be made. Professional decision-making aids such as genetic counseling, professional aids in decision-making, such as genetic counseling, are shaped by this new understanding of decision-making. And the visual representation of the decision-making model described is the decision tree, that you have at least two options to choose from, and both have many possible